respond, so I'll try again. I'd like to call our January 6, 2026 Board of Education meeting to order. We are glad that you are here this evening. Happy New Year, one and all. I don't see a whole bunch of people here. My goodness, that's okay. That's great. We have a couple board members missing, but that's okay. We have a quorum, so we'll go ahead and move forward. At this point, would you please call the roll? Ms. Baggy. Present.
Ms. Mason.
Here.
Josie Barnhart.
Here.
Pat Bradford.
I am here.
Judy Justice. Tim Merrick.
Here.
David Perry.
Okay, we do have a quorum. I will say that. We'll move forward. Just a couple of quick announcements before we begin. The invocation today will be done by Gail Tabor from the pastor of the Salt Church. That will be our invocation. We are happy to have our Laney High School Air Force Junior ROTC. They will present the colors today. Colonel Amy Russo and Master Sergeant Bruce C. And then we're very excited to have our New Hanover County Elementary Chorus. They were selected for North Carolina Honors and under the direction of Dr. Amanda Hale, music teacher at Coddington. And we've asked, oh, there's Ms. Justice, welcome. And we've asked Dr. Merrick to do our pledge this evening. So we will start with our invocation.
I am Gail Tabor. I am the pastor of Salt Methodist Community, and I invite you to pray with me, y'all. Holy One, today as we gather to do the work of providing for the education of all the children in New Hanover County, we first pause to remember and be grateful. We give thanks for the absolute joy of living in a beautiful place and for the beauty of your creation and our mandate to care for all that is in it, especially the children who are often seen as the least among us. We pray not just for the physical safety of all the students and teachers in our schools, but that we would be places where all are seen, heard, and appreciated, not just because of our differences, but because just as beautiful music is made and harmony comes from blending of different voices, so the beauty of humanity shines in our differences. Guide us as we face times of concern and fear, that our choices and our vision will be ever toward all, and especially to all of those who are most vulnerable. May the decisions made here be inclusive and equitable. Even when we have difference of opinions, give us a spirit of unity. Help us not just to listen to others as they share their point of view, but to hold them in full regard for all of our shared humanity. Aid us and aid this body to work as a unified team as they lead New Hanover County schools. May every child and family know their worth and their value to this body and to the community at large. In our ever-changing world, we pray for these board members and for the various level of official and staff who serve the students and the families of New Hanover County schools. Bless this body with their decisions, that it would be a benefit to all those who work for, attend, or have a child or person for whom they care in Hanover County School. We offer all the names of the one we call. Amen.
Color guard, hold.
Bow. Face. Forward. Arch.
Dr. Merrick?
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Don't go anywhere yet. Young folks here, if I could. Just want you guys to introduce yourselves to everyone. You did an awesome job. Wow. Would you tell us who you are and a little bit about yourself?
I'm Casey. I'm in 5th grade, and I go to Coddington Elementary School.
Thank you.
I'm Amelia Sanchez. I'm in 5th grade, and I go to Bellamy Elementary.
I am Zane Schudler, and I am in 4th grade, and I go to Eaton Elementary.
I am Genevieve Whitney. I'm in 5th grade, and I go to Pine Valley Elementary.
I'm Sutton Page, and I'm in 5th grade, and I go to Covington.
Let's give them a little more round of applause, please. Great job, you guys. And if we can get our Laney folks to tell us a little bit about themselves.
My name is Layla Saladin, and I'm from Laney High School.
My name is Cole Miller. I'm a senior at Laney High School.
My name is Yereni Policarpio, and I'm a sophomore at Laney High School.
Hello, my name is Azra Morello, and I am a senior at Laney High School.
Let's give them a round. Thank you all. You did a great job. Thank you. Thank you. All right. That's a great way to start. I will entertain a motion now to approve the agenda.
So moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
First and second, any discussion?
Yes.
Ms. Bradford?
Mr. Chair, I would move to take new business item A, exceptional children, and move it up to after information. And the reason for that is we have a guest tonight who's come for the CTE presentation, David Stegall from the endowment, and he said he would stay and listen to exceptional children, and I'd really appreciate it if we could do that.
Second.
Okay. We have like multiple seconds, okay? Any discussion? If not, all in favor of moving item A under new business to item B under information, please signify.
No, sir, just move the whole new business under there.
Well, yes.
There may be some action.
Okay. Okay, so basically moving, all right, so moving new business under information. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, like sign. Passes 7-0. Okay. Now I will entertain a motion to approve the amended agenda.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. That also passes 7-0. My favorite time of the night is recognitions, and we'll start that, Ms. Baggy.
Minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so excited about that. I wanted to skip everything else. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, like sign. Again, passes 7-0. And now, on to my favorite part of the day.
It's not just your favorite, it's mine too. All right, thank you all for this opportunity. First of all, tonight I'd like to start. Last year at this particular time, we were here to recognize a particular staff member, and they were recognized by the North Carolina Department of Cultural Resources, DNCR, for Learning Happens Here Teacher Ambassadors. This year, we're here to recognize him, Mr. Sean Stanek from Holly Shelter Middle School, for being chosen as the winner of the North Carolina State 2026 National Society Daughters of the American Revolution Outstanding Teacher of American History Award. This award speaks to Mr. Stanek's high level of excellence in teaching American history, recognizing him as a top educator across the entire state of North Carolina. As the winner of this award, Mr. Stanek is in the running for the selection of a national winner, which will be announced in the spring of this year. Please join me in congratulating Mr. Stanek in his incredible achievement. Congratulations again, Mr. Stanek. Thank you. Thank you, and congratulations. We hope to see you back again next year. All right, next, please welcome to our stage our future Business Leaders of America students. We have Caroline Santo and Evelyn Tanner. Please join me. And hopefully they didn't move so I can talk for a minute. All right, so these students have been hard at work this past year, and we'd like to recognize them. First, Caroline Santo from WEX. Caroline has been diligently serving as the NC-FBLA Central Region Vice President for the past 2 years. Additionally, she was named the NC-FBLA State Co-President earlier this year. She has truly set a new standard for the NC-FBLA leadership by leading workshops and setting the example for fellow state officers. She is also currently preparing for the NC-FBLA State Leadership Conference in March of 2026 in Greensboro. Next, we'd like to recognize Evelyn Tanner from WEX as the NC-FBLA Central Region Conference Ambassador and for her hard work as campaign manager for NC-FBLA Central Region Vice President Caroline Santo. I wonder if they know each other. Evelyn has been instrumental in leading FBLA's workshops and event planning for opening and award ceremonies. She also played a vital role in managing Caroline Santo's campaign, leading her to reinstatement as the Central Region Vice President. Join me in celebrating Caroline and Evelyn for paving the way in NC-FBLA leadership, both individually and as a team, and for representing NHCS so well. Congratulations. Thank you. I love my job. All right. I see I'm gonna have to put you guys back in order, aren't I? All right. So January is National School Board Appreciation Month. So we're gonna take this opportunity to take a photo. Okay. So we would like to thank our Board of Education for its commitment to New Hanover County Schools' mission to provide children with an opportunity for superior education and in helping us to provide a safe and supportive learning environment where they are prepared with the skills to succeed. Thank you to our Board of Education members for your leadership and commitment to education here in our community. Now, last but not least, I have one more for you. Tonight, please join me in welcoming Dr. Brock Womble, NCCAT Executive Director, and Mr. Rick Stout, NCCAT Board of Trustees Chair, for this next recognition. We're proud to recognize Allison Hancock, music teacher at Snipes, and Rachel Freeman School of Engineering for being named as a finalist for the North Carolina Central for the Advancement of Teaching 2026 Bros Welcome Fund NC Beginning Teacher of the Year Award. She's been chosen as one of 27 finalists from across the state for this prestigious recognition, and it's a testament to her excellence and dedication as an educator, and we're incredibly proud to see her hard work and talent recognized at the state level. And now I'm going to turn it over to our guests.
Good evening, Superintendent Barnes and members of the New Hanover County Schools Board of Education. On behalf of the North Carolina Center for the Advancement of Teaching, it is my privilege to announce that Allison Hancock, a K-5 music teacher at Annie Snipes Academy of Arts and Designs, has been selected as a finalist for the NCAT 2026 Burroughs Welcome Fund North Carolina Beginning Teacher of the Year Award. This recognition celebrates Ms. Hancock's outstanding contributions as a beginning teacher and the meaningful impact she is already making on her students and the broader community here in New Hanover County. I'd like to recognize Dr. Stephanie Willis, principal of Annie Snipes Academy of Arts and Design, Andrea Raines, New Hanover County Schools Beginning Teacher Coordinator, for their support of Ms. Hancock, and also like to thank NCAT Board of Trustees Chair Rick Stout for being here to honor Ms. Hancock. The Beginning Teacher of the Year Award was created to recognize the creativity, resilience, and commitment of first-year teachers across North Carolina. Each year, more than 7,000 new educators step into the classrooms statewide, and this award shines a light on those who rise to the challenges and represent the very best of our profession. Ms. Hancock will be attending a week of leadership-focused professional development with her fellow finalists in March, where interviews and portfolios review will be conducted by a panel of judges across the state to determine the next Beginning Teacher of the Year. On March 12th, NCAT will celebrate all finalists and announce the winner at a recognition event at Wake Forest University in Winston-Salem. At NCAT, we are committed to advancing teaching as an art and a profession, and we are thrilled to celebrate Ms. Hancock as a shining example of this mission. Please join me in congratulating Allison Hancock on this outstanding achievement. We are pleased to provide you with a certificate recognizing you as an NCAT 2026 Burroughs Welcome Fund North Carolina Beginning Teacher of the Year finalist.
And Ms. Raines, if I could ask, how many years have we participated in the Beginning Teacher of the Year program? 6. And how many years have we had a finalist? 6. Thank you. Dr. Womble, if we could bring this one home, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and that is my portion.
Next, we will have our administrative introductions. Ms. Geller?
Thank you. Good evening. Tonight, I am pleased to announce two new supervisors, assistant director and an assistant principal tonight. So first, I'd like to ask Ms. Lauren Applewhite to come up. So Ms. Applewhite brings over 16 years of educational experience to her role as assistant principal at Winter Park Elementary and Holly Tree Elementary. A national board certified teacher, Ms. Applewhite most recently served as instructional coach and MTSS coordinator at Masonboro Elementary School, providing coaching and professional development for teachers while focusing on data-driven practices to support continuous improvement and equitable outcomes for students. Ms. Applewhite is committed to building strong relationships with students, families, and staff while fostering collaborative environments that support both teacher growth and student achievement. Congratulations.
I just want to thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm really honored not only to be chosen at one school, but two, and just to be able to continue the good work happening in both those buildings and building relationships with our students, families, and staff to promote education in New Hanover County. So thank you again. I appreciate it.
I do want to point out that both of these employees are great examples of Start Here, Grow Here, and we're so very proud. Ms. Laura Severd is the next employee. She is not able to be here this evening because she is driving a bus. So she is our new Assistant Director of Transportation, but because of this funny little thing going around, the flu and some other yucky stuff, there's a significant amount of drivers that have been out. So what does an assistant director do in New Hanover County Schools? They jump on, they jump in as a team member and drive a bus. So while she can't be here, I'd still like to honor her anyway by sharing a little bit about her experience and recognizing her achievement tonight. So she brings over 30 years of dedicated service to New Hanover County Schools. Throughout her career, she's served in virtually every facet of student transportation, from bus driver and dispatcher to coordinator, TIMS coordinator, and transportation supervisor. This comprehensive experience has given her unique insight into the complexities of ensuring safe, reliable transportation for our students. Known for building strong partnerships with schools, families, and staff, she has earned the trust and respect of all stakeholders. Her extensive experience makes her an invaluable asset as we continue serving our students and the community. So congratulations to Laura, and if you see her, give her a shout out. Thank you.
Next, we will have our January Teacher Voice, and this month we'll have Pause for People coming forward.
Yay.
Gotta love that.
Hello.
Welcome.
Good evening. Thank you. Is it possible that we have the slides, perhaps? Yeah. Okay, excellent. Well, in the meantime, as that's coming up, I'm Kyrie Henry Wisenhunt. I'm the Executive Director of Pause for People. This is Kimber, who loves the camera, as you can tell. She has come to represent our four-legged coworkers and components, and we are really grateful to be invited to speak to you all about re-engaging with being able to have animal-assisted intervention from Pause for People with the New Hanover County students. I did prepare a little story to tell, so if that's possible, but if not, I can just talk on through. Doesn't work out. Okay. In the meantime, she loves the limelight. As we're doing that, if I can recall a few things that were just on the introductory, just a little bit about Pause for People. We were founded in 1999 in the greater DC area originally, and we relocated here to New Hanover County with our headquarters in 2011. So we've been here for, gosh, I guess now we have to say 16 years now because it's 2026. We did that to build our partnership with UNCW. So we have an assistance dog training minor at UNCW, which is the only undergraduate minor in the country that students can pursue in this industry. And the UNCW students actually help us with the finalization of the dog training portion. And a lot previously, when we had our previous partnership with New Hanover County Schools, a lot of the interaction that got to be done was when teachers or administrators invited our dogs to the schools, the UNCW student handlers would actually get to come partake in that also. So it was a really cool kind of like educational full circle experience of students helping students. But we're very excited. We thank you for your consideration, and we're very excited to have a new refreshed and signed memorandum of understanding so that our facility dogs and our dogs in training can attend school functions when requested by teachers and approved by the principals, so that students who are perhaps struggling after maybe some difficult events they might be needed. Also, we already have an invitation on our agenda for later this month for example, a literacy night, because the dog's helping with literacy, building confidence in reading and those skills is something that I know that the educators really hope to engage and be able to have the dogs to build that. So we're very excited to have the dogs re-entering the schools this year in 2026. We're glad that we can share, our furry, loving animals with the students, and that we'll be able to be responsive to the requests. So, you're okay? Oh, okay. So that's all I had to say, and then we just have a short story to share with you, and we should be right on time. That's okay. I never like to sit at the seat with the computer, so I'm just very grateful for y'all.
I just want to say that when we had the previous contract or the previous MOU with you guys, my boys were in elementary school and they loved reading with the dogs. So I love that we could bring this back. And
thank you so much.
Such a good puppy.
Thank you. She's a pretty good one. Yeah, she always knows when they're talking about her. Yeah. Good job. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. It's okay. Are there any other questions or topics that I might be able to? I would love that. Yes, let's do that. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen.
All right, let's go, Pete.
Not coming?
Ready?
I'm guessing none of our monitors are working?
I think they're working. I think it's, I know, but one.
No, but our first.
It's okay, it happened.
I did.
As long as I told them what they needed.
You did all the right things.
I like to see better.
Here we go.
But it's not
No, mine either.
All right. We will carry on with our superintendent's report.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Superintendent.
All right, as we begin a new year, I want to start by welcoming everybody back. I hope our students, staff, and families had time to rest and recharge and enjoy meaningful time with loved ones over the break. Before moving on, I want to recognize the incredible work happening in our schools every day. I want to share an email that I got this week. I usually get emails, texts pretty often from families, but this one is one I had sent to you folks a little earlier this week. Just encapsulates the work we're doing so well, I want to share it with everyone. So the email says, I hope this note finds you well. Our family has recently moved away over the holiday break. And as we are closing this chapter, I felt compelled to reach out and share how grateful we are for the incredible team at my child's school. The principal was truly phenomenal. From day one, she made our family feel known and valued. She greeted our son by name every morning, learned our family members' names and used them, and was consistently warm, present, and intentional in every interaction. When situations arose, she was proactive, thoughtful, and quick to communicate. Her leadership created an environment of trust and care, and the morale we experienced at this school was truly second to none. We'd also like to recognize the teachers who had such a profound impact on our child while they were there. Ms. Putnam, Ms. Patterson, Ms. Drawn, and Ms. Hill, his speech teacher, who he's been seeing since he was 3 years old. Each of these educators poured love into our child, built him up, and supported him in ways that went far beyond academics. They made him feel safe, capable, and confident, and they truly saw him for who he is. Because of them, he grew not only leaps and bounds as a learner, but as a person, which is also very important to us. As a former educator myself, I know how special it is to find a school where leadership, teachers, and specialists work together so intentionally to support children. This school is a shining example of that kind of community, and we wanted to be sure you were aware of the exceptional team you have there. Thank you for your leadership in supporting a school community that made such a lasting impact on our family. The school will always hold a very special place in our hearts. I share that with you guys not to single out one school or one principal or one teacher, but because it reflects what I see across our district every day. This kind of feedback is a powerful reminder that the work our staff does matters deeply to families and leaves a lasting impact well beyond the classroom. I want to thank all of our educators, support staff, and school leaders for the heart, professionalism, and dedication you guys bring to your work every day. All right, turning to district updates, I want to highlight some upcoming opportunities for our students and families. The application window for our specialty high school programs opens January 18th and runs through February 8th. Program prompts will be posted on individual school websites beginning January 11th, and the district will continue to share reminders with currently enrolled students. These programs are open to all students in New Hanover County, and I encourage families to explore the options that we have available. If you want more information, I encourage you to visit our district website. Under the Schools tab, you'll find a section titled Specialized High School Programs and Early Colleges, where families can review program details, prompts, and application links in one central location. We are also preparing for enrollment season. Pre-K enrollment begins February 1st, 2026, and kindergarten enrollment, believe it or not, will take place on March 2nd through March 16th for the 2026-2027 school year. Families should watch our website and social media channels for additional details as dates approach. Hold on, folks, we're almost there. The next several weeks will be filled with outstanding student achievements and events across the district. I want to highlight some of them for you. Free application for federal student aid, the FAFSA nights, Tuesday, January 13th from 6 to 7:30 at CFCC Union Station, located at 502 North Front Street. Thursday, January 29th at 6 o'clock at CFCC North Campus, located at 4500 Blue Clay Road. Those are nights for free application and support to apply for the FAFSA. Our Math Counts Middle School competition is January 21st. And if you have never had that sort of humbling experience of watching that happen, you should go, because I learned that I did not get as far in math as some of our middle schoolers have already gotten. All right. All county chorus performances, middle and high schools on February 7th and elementary on February 14th. The elementary chess tournament is on February 18th, and the all county dance and theater is on February 27th. These events recognize the talent and reflect the dedication and creativity of our students. You can look on our website to find their locations and opportunities. And I think, Anita, we're going off script for a minute. Over the last several weeks or so, I've gotten comments and questions from board members, from community members, from staff, asking me why, if I see something that is maybe incorrect or maybe not the whole story printed on social media or somewhere, why am I not going out and spending time making sure that the story is correct? And so I wanted to speak to that just in brief for all of you. I have sort of three gateways that I have to follow. One is the state's general statutes and laws. The second is the school's and the board's policies and procedures. And the third is my own personal code of ethics and personal integrity. I will not sacrifice any one of the three of those things to make sure the whole story gets told. You sometimes hear part of a story. We are unable to share the entirety of the story with you. That doesn't mean there isn't another side. It just means that I'm too classy to share it. But it's also part of what I think is appropriate and what I think is willing to do. I will not do things that sacrifice any of those three things significantly, my personal integrity and code of ethics. So just understand that sometimes you hear things, understand that there might be some other side to that story. And that concludes my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I don't have 3 pages, I only have 1, so I'll be a lot quicker. Excuse me. Good evening and Happy New Year to everyone. As we look forward to an exciting 2026, we need to reflect on 2025. Lots of things happen, some good and some not so good. Our pastor entitled his sermon recently, A Reset. And whether you're a church attender or not, this time of year there are many New Year's resolutions made and some kept and some not kept. I want to begin by thanking my fellow board members for showing their faith in me to lead this board into a very interesting year. We have many challenges in front of us, and with 5, with 5 out of the 7 of us running for either election or re-election, it may become challenging to keep up with our responsibilities to our students and employees and attempting to run a successful campaign at the same time. I would humbly ask a few things of my fellow board members. Please keep the lines of communication open with me and with your fellow board members. Before you post something or do an interview, ask yourself 2 very simple questions. Will this help our students or staff in any way, or will it hurt the positive progress of New Hanover County Schools? I would humbly ask you, if you have any doubts about the answer to those questions, reach out either to me or to our elected Vice Chair, Ms. Mason, for a second opinion. You still can say whatever you want, but I would like you to at least do that for that second opinion. It's always good to be able to talk through important matters. And if we can't come to an understanding, we can reach out to the other leader for a third view. I know some people want to immediately post or respond, but sometimes waiting and reflecting can bring important insight to a matter. I am very grateful for our board and for our school system and for the awesome things that our students and staff are doing and will be doing in the future. Happy 2026, and together we will reach new heights for the focus of all that we do, our wonderful students. Thank you. We will continue now with our information presentation, a partnership that works for New Hanover County Schools Career and Technical Education, CTE. Dr. Hamilton?
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to share this with you. Earlier in December, I attended the CTE Teacher of the Year banquet. Our teacher, Trey Moore from New Hanover High School, was one of the statewide finalists. And then the next day, I had the opportunity to attend the first annual statewide CTE Workforce Development Conference. And at that conference, New Hanover County Schools was mentioned several times for their statewide leadership with partnerships in our communities that enhances workforce development. And at that conference, there was a fabulous presentation from one of our Ashley High School seniors, Alexa Crace, and one of our partners, General Manager of Wilmington Grill, John Barber. It was so good that by the time they barely even sat down, I said, okay, I hope you all know you have to be prepared to come to the January board meeting and make the same presentation again, because everyone needs to see this. And I attribute these successes, of course, to our CTE leadership team, our CTE staff that we have in our schools, and primarily to our fabulous director, Mrs. Mandy Mills, who I'm going to turn this over to now. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm going to talk really fast because I want to turn it over to the important people. But I would just like to note to you you each had a gift bag that's from the CTE department in honor of School Board Appreciation Month. And just so you know, these coasters that were made, I just wanted to tell you like some of the skills and tools that had to be learned before these could be made. So these students used planers, joiners, table saws, band saws, clamps, and sanders. They learned about measuring, cutting, laminating, and sanding. That was in the carpentry class. And these were all made at New Hanover High School with Mr. Brian Batewell's carpentry class and Mr. Trey Moore's engineering class. So the engineering class learned CNC machining and the digital files, and then the carpentry class then got them back again to sand them down and get them all ready for you. So you also have some other CTE swag, but this was the most important. So I'm also very excited to share with you tonight or introduce Alexa and John, because they are a great example of how career and technical education really comes to life through industry partnerships. CTE works best when our students have the opportunity to learn directly from professionals who are invested in their success. This evening, I'm proud to introduce you to Alexa Crace, an outstanding senior at Ashley High School, her mentor and one of our valued industry partners, John Barber, General Manager of Wilmington Grill. John also serves as the chair of our CTE Advisory Council, and his leadership plays a critical role in helping us keep our programs relevant and connected to the workforce needs. We are incredibly grateful for his time, commitment, and continued support to our students. This partnership is a perfect example of how collaboration between education and industry creates meaningful opportunities for student success. So at this time, I will turn it over to Alexa and then John.
Okay, so hi, my name is Alexa Christ. As Miss Mills just stated, I am a senior at Ashley High School, and I've been a CTE student actively for 3 years, going on to my 4th year now. As you can see in these pictures, that's me on the left, that's Mr. Barber in the middle. He was one of my mentors. And then my other mentor, Mr. Moore, who unfortunately was not able to be here tonight, but I will speak on his behalf for a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to go over a quick brief introduction to what my class experience has been in CTE, my 2 big projects that I've done through business partnership, and then just in general, the beneficial reactions I've gotten from CTE and what that has done for me. So starting off, I'm a senior at Eugene Ashley High School. Like I said, I was an active CTE student for 3 years. Unfortunately, my program teacher is no longer at our school, so I'm no longer actively in my program, but I am still interning and working within CTE. I have background experience through my CTE courses in mechanical engineering and architecture. I did an architecture apprenticeship from 2023 to 2024, so last year, and then I was also an architecture intern last year in my sophomore year. So like I said, I'm going to go over my classes, my projects, and then just the overall impact I've had at CTE. So starting off with my certifications and classes, like I said, I was actively enrolled in classes from my 9th to 11th grade. I took Drafting 1, Architecture 2, Engineering 2, an Advanced Study in Architecture, and an Architectural Internship. I was also certified in AutoCAD, which is a 2D drafting service, Revit and Inventor, which are 2 different versions of the 3D continuations of AutoCAD. So I did 2 big projects throughout my time in CTE. They're both kind of placed between my freshman to junior year, mostly in my sophomore year, I will say. The first big one I did was with Mr. Cameron Moore, who, like I said, is unfortunately not able to be here tonight. But I designed a house, basically, which I'm going to get into. But I was brought onto his team, and he works for the Wilmington Cape Fear Home Builders Association. I was brought on his team to help design a home and kind of work with clients and just more shadow when I was starting, get to know the people, get to see that experience, because I was really, really architecturally based when I started in CTE. So it started off as kind of more of a mentorship. Throughout the program, after I got to know him, he got to know me. I spent a lot of time with him and our clients. They learned a lot more about what my skill set was, and I was a little bit further along than I think they expected I was, and we ended up shifting that into an apprenticeship, and I did end up doing actual hands-on work with these clients and with the board. So it's kind of a big thing I will say I took away from that was client-based interaction. As a sophomore in high school, I wasn't able to drive. I didn't even have a job at the time, and I was working with people and speaking to people about their home that they were building. I think that's an experience that has stuck with me forever, and I think will continue to stick with me, just because it's something so abnormal. You don't feel like you'd ever experience that when you're 15 years old, but it really formed such a great relationship with me and also built my soft skills a lot. Along with that, like I said, and I will get into here in a second, I was a basic plans designer. So obviously I'm not an architect. I can't stamp anything. I can't make anything necessarily structurally sound. But I was able to design these plans with these clients and go over what they wanted their house to look like, because that was the skill set I had. And I spent, I think we did 36 sets of plans with these clients. This is over a whole year. So it was a lot of time that I spent on these plans. This is my final floor plan. I wasn't going to make you guys go through the 36 versions. I figured that would be a little timely. But this ended up being my final one. As you can see, like I said, these aren't necessarily architecturally sound, because this was just kind of what the client was like, oh, I wanted this. And I was like, okay. So I worked with what I could. This house is located out in Airlie, which is a up-and-coming neighborhood right next to Airlie Gardens, which I will get to the final house plans in a second, because I do have those. But this was the bottom floor, and then this was my top floor, which looks a lot different in the final plan, because originally they did not want any finished space over the garage, but we ended up switching that. But so those were my plans. Like I said, about 36 versions. I spent 8 months with these clients and with Till You Homes and Brad, and I spent a lot of time speaking to them, and I know these clients very well. I'm still very friendly with them. They reach out every once in a while and check in on me, and I check in on them. They move in. In a couple months, actually, the house will be finished being built, which is very exciting. So I'm going to go to the opening and everything and see them, which is such an amazing experience, I will say again, as a senior in high school. So these are the final plans that I got sent by the architects last year around. As you can see, they are very similar to the plans that I showed you that I designed. And the fact that I can stand here, again, like I said, I was 15 at the time. I couldn't drive a car, and I can show you a house that I essentially designed and had a huge part in. I think that in itself speaks for our CTE program and how amazing it is here and how awesome it is that I was able to even have this opportunity and really get to explore it, because I designed a house again when I was 15, which I'm just so grateful for. This was our upper floor plan. I really think the big things I took away from this was, like I said, client experience and being able to sit down and be like, oh, this really isn't as scary as I thought it was. The idea of going and speaking to someone was terrifying to me. I didn't want to get on a Zoom call. I didn't want to do a meeting. All of that seems so scary because you've never done it before. Having that experience and being able to just sit down with the client and be like, hey, you didn't like this, you liked this, what's up, was an experience that I really did benefit from. And I think I still do in my everyday. I'm a teacher now. I'm a preschool teacher. And all of that work, I had a lot more experience like with working with kids and just being able to speak to parents and mentors and everybody. I feel like in my life, I feel like client experience has been so amazing. And that's something I wouldn't have been able to get if obviously we didn't have our CTE program. And I'm just really grateful for the opportunities we have, especially with that business partnership, as I was able to work on field. I'm gonna go into my second project. This is with Mr. John Barber, who you guys will hear from in a little bit. So this project was, on the left, you can kind of see my reference image. I designed a mechanical, like I mechanically engineered a metal cart, basically. Our teacher showed us this picture in class one day and was kind of talking about it, and he was like, oh, this is really cool, whatever, like I saw this is a good example of stainless steel design, as that's what we were going into with our programs. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. I would love to try and design this, like, would you let me? And he was like, of course. So I spent a lot of time, I would say, with my teacher. He taught me how to do all of our 3D software, because I was not certified in it yet. I am now. But I spent a lot of time in that software, which is when I designed this. This was also a mentorship, so I worked to design it, and then Wilmington Grill, which is where Mr. Barber is the general manager, helped me to manufacture it. So these are my final drawings again. I'm not going to go through the 18 files I have of this saved on my computer. But this ended up being my final drawing. As you can see, there's a side view, a middle view, and then up top and bottom in an isometric view. This project, I think, took it was a full year. It took 2 semesters. It was the end of my freshman year and the beginning of my sophomore year. Again, a lot of time was spent on this, but it was so valuable to me because I really did get that hands-on experience with programs. And then to be able to have Mr. Barber and him reach out to me and be like, we'd love to work with you on manufacturing this. Here's the process. I met everybody on their team. We went in, which I'll show you a picture in a minute, and we watched it get manufactured. And I got to watch that process. And as a sophomore in high school again, I think that was a process that really did benefit me, and it really motivated me to be like, oh, I can see my future in this. Like, this is something real. It's not something I'm making up. I kind of always knew when I was younger I was going to go into engineering because I was good at math, and that's what I was told when I was a kid. Oh, you're good at math. You can go be an engineer. But this was really an experience to me that I think motivated me and really still to this day drives me, which I'm going to show you guys a couple pictures. So that picture on the left for you all is the picture of the day we went and got it. We got it over Christmas break, and we got to go through the entire process. So I got to watch the laser CNCs. I got to watch my program go into it. We got to watch the welding, the bending, all of that. I met the whole team. Everybody was so accommodating. And like I said, again, this was just so inspirational to me and motivational to me. And that is something you really cannot get out of if you do not have that business partnership aspect that I am so grateful we have in our CTE program, because it really has pushed me to motivate my life. As you can see, it's currently in our garage. We're using it for my dad's cidery. I love it, and being able to see it in my house every day pushes me further, motivates me to continue to pursue my passions and what I'm going to go into. And now I'm just going to kind of talk about the overall impact that I've not already touched on. So I am currently, like I said, I am currently a preschool teacher, well, an assistant preschool teacher, and then I also am currently a plan designer and an AutoCAD drafter for American Homesmith here in Wilmington. I redo a lot of their plans and I tweak them because I have experience in that. So that kind of built off of my CTE, and I really wouldn't have had that experience, and I wouldn't have been able to have that connection with him if it wasn't for CTE. I got that connection through Mr. Barber, who, like I said, Mr. Cameron, sorry. Cameron works at the Cape Fear Home Builders Association, and he set me up with American Homesmith. They're great people. I love them. It's such a fun job, and I get to continue to work on my skills, and that is something that came out of CTE, and I'm, again, so grateful for. Next thing is college and future exploration. I know a lot of the time when CTE is brought up, it's kind of thought of as like going to trade school or going directly into the workforce. I am going to four-year college next year, and I think this has been the most beneficial thing in the entire college exploration process. I know so many people that are like going to college. I spent so many years like changing my degree and getting a new degree because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And like I said, going into high school, I was like, oh, I'll just go to engineering. I'm good at math. Work easy. I really didn't know anything about engineering. No idea what they did. Didn't know there was like 20 branches of it. Like it was a complete, like I was just gonna dive into the deep end. And then I went and I took my engineering CTE class. And like I said, I took both architecture and engineering. I was leaning architecture for a really long time. Through that experience, though, I kind of learned that as much as I loved it, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to go into mechanical engineering. That's what I will be majoring in next year. But I think the ability to figure out what I'm going to do for college and be dead set on it because I know what it involves, and I know what it's going to look like, and I know what my future is going to look like, is something that I am so incredibly grateful as a senior in high school because it takes so much stress off of you. I think that is so great about the CTE program. And then specifically in our business partnership program, like I said, connections. I wouldn't have my job with American Homesmith if it wasn't for our business partnership and being able to connect with people. And then also that comfortability in the workplace. I was talking with my soft skills and my communication skills. I was young, I had no idea. I was scared to respond to emails if I didn't know the answer. Now it's like, okay, cool, whatever. I can shoot off an email and just be like, hey, let me get back to you when I figure things out. Never would have done that 2 years ago because I had no idea, like that was normal. And it's things like that that's like, it's things like that that you develop through CTE that like are not really thought about as adults because you have developed them, but as a kid, it's like, that's not in your headspace. Getting on a Zoom call, like I said, I was terrified to get on a Zoom call. I went through COVID. I was terrified to get on a Zoom call meeting because it was just something that was new to me. So to be able to have all that experience going into college is something I am so, so grateful for because I think having those soft skills has developed me as a better person, a better student, and just a better like community member in general to be able to interact with almost anybody, mentors, anybody like that. Also my public speaking skills is something that I'm really grateful for CTE in. I would have been terrified to do this 2 years ago. I would have said no. I would have not been up here right now, I'll be honest with you. But the ability to get those soft skills and get used to being able to be up in front of people and talking to people and sharing things is something that I think is the most beneficial thing of our business partnership. On top of that, getting hands-on work experience is really what I would say has been my biggest benefit and my biggest impact from business partnership and CTE. But I think that's all I have for you guys. So if you have any questions before I pass it to Mr. Barber, I would love to answer anything.
Board members, any questions?
Yes.
But I have a comment. I just want to say, I'm going to highlight one of the things that you pulled out. And you said CTE is not just for the kids who want to go to trade school.
Yes.
And coming onto this board, workforce development and having pathways for kids has been a passion of mine. And so we've been through the rebranding process. You see the logo and all these partners because we talk about the opportunities of what CTE can bring. And so I just want to say, I'm so proud of you. Thank you for sharing your story and the value and impact of what partnerships and opportunities look like for students. And, keep it on.
Dr. Merrick?
I think we're all pretty impressed.
Thank you.
But I also want to give you something else. You kept saying, oh, well, I wouldn't have done this if it wasn't for that and this and the other and how scary it was. And I want to acknowledge that you did it despite the fact that it was scary. And that is the mark of real character. Keep it going, share it with your friends, and thank you for making us look good.
Thank you.
Dr. Barnes?
Again, we talk a lot about the 3 E's, which we want every student to graduate with: enrollment, employment, or higher education, and you've nailed 2 out of the 3. So I want to recognize Liz and Brady. Her parents are here tonight, so give a wave. Thank you. And I will tell you, Dad, she gave the exact right answer when I said what school you're going to go to, and her answer was whichever school gives me the most money. Which I thought was the perfect answer. So I didn't want to stop you with just amazing work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, and if everybody else has spoken, I would just like to tell you that I am super proud of you. My goodness gracious. I can't imagine at your age getting in front of all these adults and speaking and all the wonderful things you've done. Next house I build, I'm going to get you a call. So thank you very much. Great job.
Of course, I'm going to pass it over to Mr. Barber then, if there's no more questions, and I'm going to let him speak on more of our business perspective of CTE.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So hi, I'm John Barber. I'm with Wilmington Grill, and I'm always the one who has to follow Alexa. So that's just a wonderful, wonderful story. And we were so happy to be able to work with her on that project, and she didn't even tell you half the story. So I'm John. I'm with Wilmington Grill. We manufacture stainless steel grills here in Wilmington. We're up in North Chase. We're a family-owned business, and one of our values as our company that we have is we always want to promote manufacturing to students. It's been a wonderful career for me, and I always like to do that for my family and help tell people that it can lead to many opportunities for them. So that has led us to do many things as a company. We've started with Manufacturing Day. We have tours. We have a lot of tours at our facility. We love doing that to the point where we've even modified our equipment so we can give better examples during our tours. We've been on different advisory boards. We sponsored manufacturing camps for middle schools, different presentations, projects like we have with Alexa. That led to being part of the advisory board, and then when Mandy took over and her great team, she asked me to be the chair. And so that's why I'm here right now, and that's why I was with Alexa at this presentation to help talk about the community partnerships. So I want to take a couple seconds here, just talk about our CTE advisory board, and I think this has been a great thing that we've built up over the past couple years now. So on our advisory board, we've got a representative from pretty much every major industry here in town. In addition to that, workforce development, the Chamber, Cape Fear Community College, we've got the membership or the administration team here at the schools. So we've got this nice group going to help with this advisory board, to help give the feedback that's required and needed to see what's invited or needed in the community. So with our advisory board, and I'll make this quick here, is what works. So we've got this nice group, and we're all there, and we're there to provide feedback. And I know many of you have been part of these meetings, but that's the great thing. Everybody that's there wants to be there and is engaged and active. And the great thing is, too, that the administration wants to hear our feedback so we can give input as to what's needed in the workforce. We've got a great group, having people from every major industry and all of the support networks is incredible. We have a quarterly meeting. We put it at a high school, and that's great because part of the meeting is we go on, we give a tour, and so everybody can see firsthand what's going on in the classroom, and I think that's very important for the community partners. We also have a nice little executive committee that works with Mandy's team to help plan the meetings, so we got everybody engaged. And then we've got a great follow-up where we're constantly keeping people engaged and keeping these community partners going, as well as then we've got a nice tie-in with Cape Fear Community College. So in general, Mandy and her team has done a great job in helping to develop the CTE program, especially the advisory board. And I just like to talk about what we just have done with the group, and that's a 2-second overview of the CTE advisory board. So it's hard to follow Alexa. So any questions?
Board members, any questions?
Thank you.
Another comment, not a question.
I'm just going to say thank you again. I appreciate your leadership and the opportunity to partner with you because as a district, I know principals and teachers get frustrated when they have to figure out an opportunity to create for their students. And so having a district-wide leadership and intentionality, and Ms. Mills, I'm going to shout out to you as well, of making sure that the program we are creating here applies to all of New Hanover County schools, because we want to make sure we're giving you and the workforce the best of the best opportunities of students who might work for you one day, but also really making sure that all students have this amazing opportunity. So thank you so much for your commitment to our students.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anything else? Oh, Ms. Bradford?
And John, I just wanted to echo Josie's comments, and Alexa and Mandy. Thank you very much for the presentation, sharing the information. It helps us promote what you do, and it just helps us work that much better. Thank you for your dedication.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And if we can have you and Alexa and her folks and Mandy come up, we'd like to get a picture with all of the board as well. I think they told me I don't have a choice.
My favorite thing. All righty.
EC.
We are going to go, I don't think we updated it, but we are going to go on to new business, which is exceptional children's programs. And I'm not sure who's going to be taking that.
I think it's Julie.
Julie, I figured. Okay. Ms. Varnum, please come down and join us. Welcome.
Thank you. That's a hard act to follow. So I'm going to talk about money that we would like to have more of. So thank you for bringing this onto the agenda for your discussion and for possible action. And this comes in response to the resolution in support of equitable funding for exceptional children in the Hanover County schools, the resolution that the board passed in the last board meeting. So I want to bring to the board's attention, or to the community's attention, some of the details in the resolution that will lead to more of the information, and then, of course, whatever questions you have. So for each student that is served under Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, which we refer to as IDEA, but knowing that that's the federal law that governs all of the programs for free and appropriate public education for our students that have a qualifying disability. And in North Carolina policies governing the programs and services for children with disabilities outlines the eligibility criteria, outlines the evaluation processes, and all of the procedural safeguards and parents' rights. So for each child that is determined eligible, school-age child, state funding is provided at $5,593.34 per child. And that's calculated based on our December 1 exceptional children head count or child count, and that's based on the number of children that have those individualized education programs, meaning they are eligible for services, there's a plan in place for those services, and we are providing those services. But the December child count, allows for us to calculate every child receiving services, but the funding stops at a 13% mark. 13% of our total ADM, which is our average daily membership of total school-age students. Our population of students requiring exceptional children's services or having an individualized education program is 13.9. Now, I'm speaking about data that occurred last December of 24 for the 25 funding cycle. So in another couple of months, I can provide information on what our funding will be like for, it might actually take closer to April, but to give an idea of what our child count is, we've calculated our December child count, but all that has to still be verified. So I'm using data from a year past. So based on the funding cap, we're serving 13.9% of our population as students with disabilities requiring IEPs or individualized education programs, meaning almost 1% we're not being funded for. That calculates for us at 101 children. So those are not funded. That dollar amount for us is $564,927.34 for this current school year. $564,000. So the board did ask in the resolution for the General Assembly to consider the looking at a funding formula that it revises from a per child count to an intensity of need count, and I'll speak to that in a minute. Also asking for other supplemental funding relief options, which there are some, and hear me when I say, we are really quick to ask for those. As soon as those applications open, we seek those. We do not wait a day or two. Also asking to remove the cap to release some of the financial burden and to increase our impact. And then alongside other districts, advocate for the provision of federal funding as well, because that's another point. So I want to move on from the resolution to the next document. It would be the third, New Hanover County Schools funding legislative request. Thank you. And I apologize. I'm going to have to say a lot of the words that are on this particular document because it took a lot to make it one page. And so therefore, it's only the main points. So there are 4 major sections in this document that I'm just going to speak to, and then this is here for anybody to reference if you want to. So there are statutory requirements, there's an intensity of need, and then there are the funding challenges, but inside the intensity of need, I'm going to give you some specific data. So the statutory requirements, as I've already mentioned, federal law, which is IDEA, federal law lays out exactly what's expected of us. And that was enacted by Congress in 1975. And I'm going to give you a quick little piece of information on the funding. 50 years ago, when that was written, Congress wrote into the law that they would fund 40% of what it takes to implement IDEA, and the states would pick up the rest. So this is written for the nation. In 50 years, it has never been fully funded. The most funding that states have received is 18%. Just let that sit for a second. The average that states have received is 15%. Our most recent is 13%. So we already have a major gap in what's expected and then what's funded. So the states picking up the rest. Our North Carolina policies, as I mentioned, require and ensure that all eligible children are provided a free and appropriate public education. And that's not just for special education services, but it's also for related services: physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech language, medical or nursing services. And the list really goes on. So these services are not determined by a district level team. They're not determined by a state level team. These services for each child are determined by that child's team, including, most importantly, their parents, who have goals and a lot of history and a lot of insight into that child's characteristics, their strengths and their needs. So that forms the team along with their current providers at their school, their general education teacher, their special education, the administrator. That team comes together and decides those services. And then we follow through with making sure that the resources are there for those services to be carried out as the team has determined. So the intensity of need, let me come to that. Well, let me back up one step. We don't just serve school-age children. We start evaluating children where there's a suspicion of disability. We start evaluating at 2 years, 6 months, because we start providing services at 3 years. So 3 years old. And the services under IDEA are for ages 3 to 21. But if a student stays with us and they're still in school with us when they're 21, they can remain with us and be provided services through the school year in which they turn 22. They don't count on head count either. So we don't necessarily get the funding when they choose to stay and age out with us, but that's fine. We serve them, so we say we serve 2 years, 6 months to 22. The intensity of need, current numbers, not based on last year's child count, current numbers, 3,293, so 3,293 school-age students who we often refer to as EC, or exceptional children, are provided special education and related services with us. We are only providing special education services by certified and highly qualified staff. And in the event we have turnover, we are recruiting those highly qualified and certified staff to fill those gaps. North Carolina policies govern caseload and class size. So we don't just fill up classrooms based on the size of the classroom. We're following caseload and class size requirements. Those are meant to meet the educational, the behavioral, and the medical needs of our students. So while the class size and the caseload ranges across a continuum, it ranges from 2 staff to 6 students for our most significant needs, to 1 staff and 14 students. Again, the continuum of children with disabilities and the continuum of need is vast, from very significant to very minimal, but still requiring services. So again, the ratio can be 2 staff to 6 students or 1 to 14. The average ratio of staff to students in New Hanover County schools is 1 to 3.8 students. 1 staff to 3.8 students. And that's due to the significant number of students with intensive developmental, behavioral, and medical needs. So I want to speak to that for a second. We have 108 maximum service classrooms for our students with the most significant needs. And those classrooms require really low ratios, low staff to student ratios, specialized equipment, assistive technology, multiple related services. And it's not just those that you might automatically think of, or I mentioned a while ago, like physical therapy and occupational therapy. It can include one-on-one registered nurses. The cost of these services far exceed the per-child allotment funding that we receive from the state or the Fed. So in fact, this is a really crucial data point. In fact, the cost to serve our 30 most fragile students, all of their related services, I'm not mentioning their special education. I'm not mentioning the classroom teacher that also serves a few others. I'm talking about just the related services for our 30 most intensive students exceeds $1.4 million this year. So that means our nursing, we have 13 students with nursing, one-on-one nursing. That is $964,000 contract this year. CNA support, another $255,000. The list goes on with language facilitators, cued speech transliterators, educational interpreters, behavior technicians, and Braille services. So the funding challenge, and I'm, again, so grateful that the board has asked for this information to be discussed, that to be provided to legislators, and this is exactly why this has been created as a one-pager with very many words in very small font. The funding challenges are this. There's a flat funding formula. We get a per-child amount. I'm going to go back. You remember what it costs to provide the services to our 30 most fragile students, 30. And I said that was $1.4 million. Remember, we get $5,593.34 from the state for those children. The funding challenge is the flat funding formula, meaning that all students are funded at the same level regardless of the intensity of the services they require. For example, a student who requires 30 minutes of service daily, could be physical therapy, could be speech therapy, they have the same funding as a student needing full day support plus multiple related services. Full day support of teacher, teacher assistant, maybe multiple, plus all those related services, same amount of money. So the proposed EC weighted funding model that has been proposed by the state, that is identified by DPI and the state board as a priority currently through the Government Affairs Office and provided in the December 3rd state board meeting, it is still identified as a priority to implement the exceptional children weighted funding formula. That generates the funding by the service level required for the student versus the fixed per student rate. That funding formula per DPI, the weighted elements would include environment, so the placement, the location of services, the intensity of services, which could also include that course of study, whether our students are on the general curriculum or adapted curriculum. And then it also includes staffing ratio. How many staff are required to appropriately and safely serve our students? So we are very much in favor of the weighted funding formula. And during my time serving as president of Council for Administrators of Special Ed in North Carolina, we were very involved in the original creation of this. I'm sad to say that was a few years ago. I think it was about 5. The next funding challenge is our state cap. We have legal obligations, as I mentioned before, to serve every student who meets criteria. Every student who meets criteria must be fully served. Then why shouldn't every student who meets criteria be fully funded? So we're asking for the state cap to be removed because it doesn't match the legal obligation in North Carolina or developed by Congress. So the 13% cap should be removed. I am so appreciative that this board has asked for immediate funding of what we aren't being provided, that 0.9% funding, which is over $560,000. So immediate action requested would be removal of a 13% funding cap in addition to approval of the EC weighted funding model. And that we find that that would be imperative for public school units to meet baseline legal requirements. Baseline. Not the most, what's considered the best or the most advanced. It's to meet baseline. That's the least that can be done regarding the funding. I'm open to any questions.
Mr. Perry. Hey, thank you for that. My question is how, I'm definitely for the weighted model. How in-depth or complicated is it going to be to set up a system where, because every child's unique and they vary. So how do we come up with, advocate for a system that's going to be not a bear to manage, but still gets us the money that we need?
Right, that's a great question. This weighted funding model has already been piloted in multiple school districts across the state and then analyzed for the funding that they would have received under the old model and then the funding received in the new model. So those results do show that districts or counties that have a high number of students with significant needs are provided more appropriate funding. And the database for these 3,300 children is quite extensive. So I would argue that we already have every cell in any report that is needed for that. Thank you.
Ms. Justice?
Thank you so much for this presentation, and thank you for this board for caring enough to want the information. One of the things that is a reality is that New Hanover County is a magnet for people moving into the area if their children are EC, because we do provide the best
Most comprehensive.
support
Yeah.
in southeastern North Carolina. It's a reality. Not only that, parents who send their kids to private schools, if they happen to have an EC child, pull them out of private schools and put them in our schools. This is a financial burden that the other districts don't have to deal with locally, but it's a problem across the state, obviously.
Right.
And this is purely political. It's a decision that our leaders in the legislature, I know this is just a fact. So we, in general, not just us, but our community needs to pressure them to look at what's needed for these kids, because not only are they missing out on what they need, but the other students are too, because we repeatedly have to pull, because we're trying so hard to follow the regulations. But we have to pull other people constantly from other classes where they're needed desperately to try to meet the needs of these kids. And I wanted to say thank you so much, Ms. Varnum. I've known you for years, and ever since I first met you, good God, excuse me, 8, 9 years ago, you've been such a powerful advocate for this group of children. So thank you so much personally.
Thank you for that.
Did you have some? Yes, ma'am. I heard something that I wasn't sure.
No, thank you. I know that this has been on our legislative agenda, the EC tiered funding model, because it has been piloted statewide. So we're not even asking to be a part of a pilot. It has been piloted. We would like to see that implemented. If I remember correctly, New Hanover County, if this passes, would receive an additional $2 million more roughly with those numbers that we talked. It might have been a year ago, so it might be a little bit changed now.
Right.
But I mean, it would be a substantial amount of money that we could specifically direct to EC. Because I know one of the ways that we did as a district to be responsive to EC needs is to say, let's take some of the TAs that had been traditionally in every single third grade classroom, in every single second grade classroom. We needed those so that we could be more responsive to the EC students that we have.
Exactly.
And so if we have allocated funding specifically for EC, then that would free up and allow us to reevaluate how we could staff in different environments. So I don't know if you, in one of our updates, if that number is not 2 million, if you could give us what that would be with the tiered funding model.
Okay.
I remember it being roughly around that, but just to.
Yeah, I'm not exactly. It's an old number. Yeah, it is old.
Okay.
Dr. Merrick?
Thank you. Thank you for bringing the passion for our kids. Thank you for caring enough to really spell this out. I think what I'm seeing right now is that we know that about 2,500 people watch this meeting at home. And so this is really important public information. And I think I don't want to skip the opportunity to remind the public that when we give vouchers to private schools, take that money away from our public schools. Now, these private schools are not under any commitment to take care of these children. We have to do it. And so the other thing, and I don't want to skip ahead, are you going to go through that very long presentation for these others? No.
I included those for the highlights that I mentioned.
Gotcha. Well,
Yes.
then I want to bring something up about those, because what we notice in there, what DPI has said we need in our schools and what they have recommended to the legislature and what the governor has recommended that we need are so very different than what our state legislature has suggested that perhaps we might want. And that's really important for the public to know what we need, what the governor realizes we need, what DPI says we need, what you say we need is not being delivered. And so we need to have public support to change our state legislature to please take care of our children.
Yep.
Thank you.
Bradford?
And I'm going to jump to my personal goal for the next couple of months, which is the cap. If we can just get the cap popped or raised, if it just went up 1 point, we'd have another $570,000, which would make a huge difference in our staffing at the EC level. And if y'all remember, a year ago, we had, for finance, we had school operations specialist Aaron Bouillard come in and he did a fabulous analysis of finance. But at the back of it, he had a big, thick section about how stretched thin EC was at the crisis level, and that we needed relief and we needed it fast. Now we have the superintendent's study that's just come out, and if you correlate those numbers in the very bottom around in the questions in the 40s and the 50s, you can see that stress level that our principals are reporting, our assistant principals are reporting. So my goal is that while we're doing these mini budgets in Raleigh, that everyone in this room can approach whichever state legislator that you know and ask them to take the cap off of EC funding. Pop the cap, or at least bump it up by 2 points. Talking to other board members in other districts, we are not alone in this need. We are not by any means at the highest level of what the percentage is for other counties, other school districts. But we want to take care of that 101 kids in our district. We want to take care of our staff as well, because they're stretched thin, they're at the breaking point, and it's a crisis. And so I'm just thrilled with this. We actually need to take this presentation to the New Hanover County Commissioners next, and just keep moving as hard as we can on this. And maybe maybe in 6 months we will have accomplished it. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
And I'm going to echo what my colleagues have said. I think this was a great presentation, very needed. I think that, number one, you always do a great job, but I think this is really an area, as a former principal, I remember when one or two students, just changed the whole climate of a school. And, if we had this staffing and the student and the help that we needed at the schools, a lot of times, those students would thrive. They would be doing a lot better. The school as a whole would be doing a lot better. So it doesn't just impact that one small classroom of 14 students. It impacts a whole school or several schools in this case. So, I think we all are on the same page that it is needed. We need to go ahead and get this cap popped, as my colleague said down there, so that we can fund these students, because these students are hugely important, but so are the rest of the students in the school. So I agree. Dr. Barnes?
Just to add something to, Julie, what you said, when you think about the allotments of teachers that they provide, the state provides to school systems, the amount of EC service they provide, all those come down to what's called a per pupil funding. If you look at North Carolina, I want everyone, if you don't mind, to pull out your phone. Those of you who aren't already texting, pull out your phone. The national average for the per pupil funding, national average for all 50 states, including DC, so 51, is $17,853 per student. So put that into your phone, $17,853. North Carolina's per pupil funding is $12,193. The difference in those two numbers, someone call it out for me, please.
5,660.
Well, look who is my A+ AIG student, whoever you are, is $5,660 per kid. We have approximately 24,000 students here in New Hanover County Schools. So somebody please take 5,660 and multiply that by 24,000. And where's my A+ student? What we get?
Let's go down to A-.
About $136 million.
Okay, and
that is not to put us as the highest the highest state in the nation. That's to bring us to the national average. $136 million more would take care of our EC problem. It would take care of our academic concerns. It would take care of some of our behavioral concerns.
boy, would we be flying.
These are the things that we need to advocate for. My concern is removing the cap doesn't solve the problem. The problem is that our schools are not funded at the place where they need to be. I've been out of schools for about 10 years in the central office. And when I was a high school principal, the formulas and the funding was the same as it was a decade ago. Students are not the same as they were a decade ago. And whether it's special ed students, regular students, all students, we need to address with our legislature the state funding per pupil allotment. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Justice?
Yes, and by the way, we are the 12th wealthiest state. We're the 12th wealthiest state in the nation. There's a recent, within 2 months, the most recent figures show that we fund our children per pupil at the 50th level. 50th level out of 51, because they do conclude DC. This is appalling. Our kids deserve so much better.
Any other questions from?
No, I just wanted to, if we're done, I'd like to make a motion that we take a 5-minute break because we've already, before we do the call of audience.
Okay, there's a motion. Well, is there anything else from Ms. Varner before she leaves?
Thank you, Julie.
Great job. Great job. Okay, we have a motion. We have a motion for a 5-minute break.
Before we do, I just was asking Dr. Barnes, is there any action that we can take that would advance this forward tonight? Does anyone have an idea?
We can pass a basket around if you guys got 136 mil. I think it comes down to, we did such a great job last spring bringing students to Raleigh and showing legislators this is what New Hanover County Schools does to kids, does with students, right? I think continuing that advocacy is our only solution. I know that you and I have been working with the Public School Forum on their district-wide weighted student funding formula. I know that these things take time, and I know you guys have been patiently waiting for a call to audience, but this is the real crux of the issue. And if we could lick this problem, we would solve so many different things.
I thought I was done, I apologize, but I think throughout that is echoed in this conversation has been focused on the advocacy of targeted change. And so when we created and adopted the legislative agenda, we said, what are the targeted needs to focus on? I don't like the allotment formula model, never have. I support a fully student-weighted funding model. Like Dr. Barnes said, him and I have been asked to serve on a committee with the NC Public Schools Forum, and we've given our feedback, and we've talked about how there needs to be consistent checks and updates. There needs to be something built in that if you have a teacher who has taught for 30 years, how are you accommodating them at a different rate than a first-year teacher? All these things. So there are a lot of conversations going on, and the feedback that has been given to us to question and to say, how does it look, is where is the accountability model in that? Because what is currently in place, the line item that it is earmarked for must be spent on whatever it says. If it's EC students, it has to be spent on EC, or if it's in technology or whatever. And so that has been a very crucial component in talking about how to change things. And so that's something as we have further conversations with one another to talk about the concern, because that's been a concern that's been brought up to us that we've brainstormed with colleagues about. But I say continue the targeted focus. We have already acknowledged that EC here in our district, and talking to colleagues across the state, it seems to be echoed that the CAP and the tiered funding model would help support and help us to better support what is currently happening. So I just appreciate my colleagues for approving the legislative agenda so that we can have a targeted advocacy focus.
For sure.
Okay, we will take a 5-minute break. Let's go ahead and be back at 20 of, please. All right, board members, we're ready to start. Need a couple more up here so we can begin. Sir? All right, we are going to carry on. Thank you for coming back. We are going to carry on with our call to audience. I'll turn it over to our vice chair, Ms. Mason. Ms. Mason, you're up.
Thanks. All right, we're going to start with Leslie Posey. Now, I heard she wasn't here, but I still wanted to call just to make sure. Okay. Chris Sutton. Thank you.
We're up there. Well, thank you.
Wasn't planning on speaking about Pause for People tonight, but the theme of mine was delay. And so they were removed in 2022. And then back in January of 2025, the executive director that actually just came and spoke during the teacher voice time, she sent an email to the board back last January. So a year later now, here she is at teacher voice, and again, delay. It's still not being handled. It doesn't make much sense. I went around speaking to a lot of different teachers. That's something that continues to be brought up as Pause for People. Another thing, delay. The agenda review item that's coming before y'all tonight. Why can the community not see agenda review items? I understand it's still a working document, but they should be able to see it earlier. How can we dissent? How can we have conversations with our elected representatives? It's one thing if y'all just treated agenda review as just a regular agenda review. You don't. Sometimes y'all take votes at it. That's not good. Realistically, if y'all are going to support this change and make it a consensus item and vote on it, please at least add some type of protection that doesn't allow agenda review votes unless it's considered an emergency. Public records requests, another one. For 6 or 7 years now, I've brought up the fact that we have our attorneys, which again, this is several attorneys back, the problem still persists with public records requests. We have no mechanism that makes it where things need to be handled in a specific amount of time, where something can technically be tabled. We have one public records request right now that's been pending for 258 days. How is that quick? And I understand that we've been working on things, and once our staff members kick it to our attorneys, I would love to see our our policy with attorneys change to tell them to work in a specific manner so everything gets addressed and things are not accidentally tabled. There's a lot more that I plan to speak on, but we continue to delay growth. We need to start moving fast. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sutton. Karen Clark.
Good evening, Dr. Barnes and board. Jesus was consumed by his Father's business. Do not be deceived by the enemy's tactics to distract you. Every seat of power, realm of government, and authority exists through Almighty God for his purposes. I pray in Jesus' name, you are intentional. You remember what was placed in your heart when you were elected to protect the education of our children, that you set your mind as a flint before you. You avoid empty and worthless words and are never drawn into meaningless arguments. No more delay sending policy back to committee over and over. Our children, our parents, and our teachers are counting on you. Our children need academic rigor to understand citizenship, the moral law, to think critically, to discern truth. Teachers need time planning in the classroom, less meetings, emails, and costly canned curriculum. I pray your fruit is not contention, competition, and evil suspicions, but based on the truth of the Anointed One. May you be reservoirs of every kind of wisdom and spiritual understanding. I pray you walk in the ways of true righteousness, pleasing God. Then you'll become fruit-bearing branches yielding to his life, advancing our children with the truth wrapped around your heart. Then heaven touches earth with righteousness, peace, and joy. Your kingdom come, Jesus. Your will be done through our school board as it is in heaven.
Thank you. Brittany LaRue.
Good evening. As many of you know, my name is Brittany LaRue. When an elected official speaks publicly about matters under their authority, their words do not lose weight simply because they were posted from a personal account or paired with the disclaimer, quote, "These opinions are my own." Board members are entitled to a personal life, but there is a well-established concept in ethics called nexus, a sufficient connection between a public role and public conduct. When that connection exists, action taken personally can still impact official duties and public trust. The question is not whether a comment was made from a personal account. The question is whether a reasonable member of the public would view that speech as coming from a school board member, not just a private citizen. That connection exists when a board member's title is publicly listed, when an account is widely known to belong to a board member, or when posts are regularly treated by the public as board-level statements. When that content overlaps with this board governs, it is no longer purely personal. Serving as an elected official requires restraint and sacrifice, particularly in public forums. When that responsibility is ignored, trust erodes and bias appears, even unintentionally. For these reasons, the revisions of Policy 2127 is appropriate. The restriction on using school system names, logos, or trademarks on personal social media protects clarity and public confidence. I have already submitted proposed clarifying language to ensure board members may still share approved district communications in their original form, while still maintaining a clear boundary between personal speech and official representation. Clear rules protect the district, the board, and the families the board serves. It is time the board treats that responsibility with the seriousness it deserves. Thank you.
E.J. Hanley.
Good evening. The revised short-term suspension policy 4351 went into effect at the beginning of the 2022-2023 school year. That's the revision where kindergarten, first grade, and second grade students would no longer receive out-of-school suspensions for minor offenses. During the past 3.5 years, the school district has made a significant progress with providing training for staff on reducing out-of-school suspensions for K-2 students, and has in fact reduced out-of-school suspensions for that group of children. The children who were in kindergarten in 2022 are now in third grade. With all the success the district has documented, it is time to revise Policy 4351 again. Starting with the 2026-2027 school year, the revised policy should include 8-year-olds or children in third grade. It would read in part, quote, "No student under age 9 or under grade 4 will be suspended out of school, except in response to incidences involving violations of Policy 4325, drugs and alcohol, 4331, assaults and threats, Policy 4333, weapons, bomb threats, terrorist threats, and clear threats to safety," end quote. An email has been sent to the board president and the superintendent requesting that the revision of Policy 4351 be added to the January 13th Policy Committee agenda. We look forward to your response. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Laura Axel. Laura Axel.
Hear as well as I probably could. Policy 2210, duties of officers, lists 9 duties for the chairperson. 2 of the duties include ensuring accountability. The chairperson helps ensure that the board and the superintendent are accountable for their decisions and actions, and facilitating communication is the second. The chairperson fosters communication between board members, the superintendent, and the community. At the October 7th board meeting, one of the board members inquired about the feasibility of posting the suspension data monthly or quarterly on the school district's website. The board member was told by a member of the administration that they would find out and get back to them. It's been 3 months. What was the answer? Does the public have the right to know? At that same meeting, another board member asked about the 3-year trend for K through 2 out-of-school suspensions. It was omitted from the discipline data presentation. Has that been determined? Does the public have a right to know? And if you have the 3-year trend data, what does it say about the impact the revision of short-term suspension policy 4351 in 22? Is anyone monitoring the impact of significant policy changes? Does the public have the right to know what the impact was? Accountability and better communication are needed here. It can't be overseen by the chairperson alone. Each board member needs to help get public information out to the community. Thank you very much.
Loretta Stackhouse.
CHAMPS is a classroom instruction and prevention framework that addresses problem behaviors. It helps educators define their expectations clearly. CHAMPS is also an acronym. C is for conversation. It answers the student's question, can I talk now? H is for help. What do I do if I'm stuck? A is for activity. What am I supposed to be doing? P is for participation. How do I show that I'm doing it right? S is for success. What happens if I do this well? Based on the training that many staff members have received from reframing behavior approach, an additional letter needs to be added, R. R is for regulation. What do I do if my body is not ready to learn? In other words, what do I do if my nervous system is in the fight, flight, or freeze state? Because a dysregulated nervous system can't think clearly, plan, listen, respond calmly to others, focus, or learn. The CHAMPS framework will work best when students are already regulated. The reframing behavior approach would say, quote, regulation before expectation, end quote. Embed the concept of regulation as you revise discipline policies and the code of conduct, of student conduct. Add regulation to the agenda of policy committee's meeting for January 13th. Thank you.
Amanda Ismail.
Good evening. Some things just haven't changed. The concept of operant conditioning has been around for over 100 years. Operant conditioning is a form of learning in which behaviors are shaped by their consequences, or changes that happen immediately after the behavior. Behaviors that are reinforced increase, and behaviors that are followed by punishment decrease. This is just a small portion of the principles within behavioral science. Behaviorism is rooted in the idea that behavior is learned through environmental changes, which can include changes of how we, or maybe a teacher, responds to the behavior of others. For example, if a student raises their hand to speak and gets praise that's meaningful to them, they're more likely to raise their hand again in the future. If they shout out and lose recess time that's really meaningful to them, they may be less likely to shout out in the future. It won't surprise you to learn that your behavior policies and the Student Code of Conduct are based in small components of behaviorism, and they don't consider increasing skills to prevent these challenges from reoccurring. Nor does it consider the developmental context or the unmet needs of these learners. This approach emphasizes observable behavior and learning outcomes alone. It does not sufficiently integrate the substantial advances in neuroscience and brain development that have emerged over the last century. Contemporary research demonstrates that learning is deeply influenced by neurobiological brain states,
Stress and nervous system dysregulation can significantly impair cognitive processing and traditional reward and punishment strategies. They're just less effective when somebody is dysregulated. They're also just not ready for learning. The policy committee needs to take a look at all of its discipline policies and consider the advances that can be integrated into a more holistic, behavioral, and psychologically sound educational practice for the 21st century. Thank you.
Thank you. Barbara Garrow.
Who has seen the New Hanover County School Student Code of Conduct? I asked because of last week, it was extremely hard to find, if not impossible, on the district's website. If you click on the little search magnifying glass on the home page and search for Student Code of Conduct, Code of Student Conduct, or simply Code of Conduct, the first hit you get is either Policies Under Review, Student Assignment Plan, or non-faculty coaching positions. I finally had to reach out to another member of our Love Our Children team to get the link I needed. The code is 19 pages long. It lists 65 unacceptable behaviors and, quote, corrective actions, end quote, that can be used for each incident. Corrective actions such as suspensions remain largely punitive and are rooted in outdated frameworks that undermine student growth. They are misaligned with modern evidence-based practices, both supported by behavioral science and neuroscience. The Student Code of Conduct states that corrective actions are used to, quote, maintain a safe environment, maximize all students' learning, and improve students' behavior and problem-solving skills, end quote. So how exactly does that work for an 8-year-old who's been suspended? How does being out of school maximize their learning and improve their behavior? Give K through 3 students the help they need and not punishments. Thank you.
Veronica McLaurin-Brown.
The Student Code of Conduct outlines 6 levels of unacceptable behavior. Level 1 behaviors like cutting class or excessive affection are normally handled by teachers. Level 6 behaviors like bringing a gun to school involve the sheriff's department. Now, picture an 8-year-old in 3rd grade showing a level 2 behavior, speaking disrespectfully, refusing a simple request, or trying to take a library book without checking it out. One corrective action in the code is an out-of-school suspension for 1 or 2 days. And during that suspension, the child is banned from all school events. But the consequences don't stop there. If that same child has been suspended or sent to choices within 10 days of a field trip, they are automatically barred from going. No exceptions, no consideration of age, need, or context. Let's call this what it is: exclusion, not education. Field trips are part of the curriculum. They expose children to new environments and connect classroom learning to the real world. They create shared memories, memories an excluded child will never, ever have. Being left behind can leave a child embarrassed, angry, or isolated. And each exclusion chips away at their trust in school. A dysregulated 8-year-old should not be excluded from learning because of a moment of frustration. If learning, safety, and support matters for every child, then co-regulation, not exclusion,
Time is up.
must define our discipline policies.
Michael Sheridan.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Michael Sheridan, and I'm speaking on Policy 4300 on student behavior, which does not align with what the staff is learning through the reframing behavior training. Hopefully, this training is still being offered. The policy mentions the board's, quote, commitment to creating safe, orderly, and inviting schools, end quote. The current research tells us that when a child doesn't feel safe, they can become dysregulated. Their nervous system goes into fight, flight, or freeze mode, which might present as disruptive or dangerous behavior. The policy goes on to proclaim, quote, disruptive behavior in the classroom will not be tolerated, end quote. Thus, Policy 4300, ironically, can lead to a 5, 6, 7, or 8-year-old child being suspended when they don't feel safe in school. Not a good outcome. Instead of having a zero-tolerance policy, please use this new language. Quote, disruptive behavior will be addressed by understanding its underlying causes, de-escalating stress responses, and supporting regulation rather than through punishment. Consequences will be framed as restorative and skill-building opportunities, helping students repair harm, practice self-regulation, and strengthen connections with adults and peers. Supports and strategies will be individualized, developmentally appropriate, and responsive to students' stress responses and regulatory capacities. Revise Policy 4300 to reflect current neuroscience-informed behavioral practices that emphasize co-regulation, skill development, and relational repair. Approaches shown to improve student engagement, behavior, and long-term academic success. A win-win for everyone.
Jerry Winsett.
Good evening. I'm Reverend Jerry Winsett. I'd like to talk to you about the new Hanover County Schools Strategic Plan for 2022 to 2027, which has 6 initiatives. One of them is safe and civil schools. The stated goal of that initiative is to reduce student disruptions and referrals by implementing programs, monitoring progress, and providing ongoing staff training to maximize instructional time. Sadly, those goals frames behavior as something to eliminate, not to understand. And it seems more focused on staff inconvenience than it does on the students' needs. It would be better if the goal was about supporting student regulation and engagement to ensure consistent access to learning opportunities. And of course, you can implement programs, monitor progress, and provide ongoing staff training to achieve that goal. The STOIC model for the Safe and Civil School Initiative includes many elements that reflect the recent research. Some examples include providing clear routines, expectations, and consistent instructional practices to support predictability that helps with the nervous system regulation. Building relationships with positive language is at the core of self-regulation and trust. And addressing off-task behaviors through reteaching and modeling is a solid skills-based strategy. It is a better way than punishing dysregulated kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade children. Your strategic plan, board policy, the student code of conduct, and the school-wide behavior plans needs to be aligned. Please use the reframing behavior language to help you do that, and thank you for allowing me to speak this evening.
Thank you. Peter Rowich.
There have been a lot of suggestions and ideas tonight about revising and updating the discipline policies and other documents. Don't worry if you didn't write them all down, we will send them to you. Policy 2410, Policy Development, Adoption, and Review, allows any board member, individual, group of citizens, student, or employee to initiate proposals for new policies or changes to existing ones. And before the policy committee approves any proposal, they can seek input from the board attorney, other professionals, school system employees, parents, students, and citizens. And whether it's called school discipline, or behavior management, or self-regulation, or positive behavior support, it's time to review and reevaluate systems and beliefs about behavior that have been around for a very, very long time. Discipline policies have an impact on all of your strategic plan initiatives: safety in school, attendance, math and reading achievement, graduation rate, and transparency, accountability, and accessibility. Remember Miss Penny from the Bellamy Elementary School? Quote, "When students arrive late or may be struggling with a hard start to their day, Miss Penny ensures they've had breakfast. She lets them know, 'We're glad you're here today.' She gets them smiling, and most importantly, she gets them ready to learn," end quote. That's co-regulation. Let's have discipline policies that get every 5, 6, 7, and 8-year-old ready to learn. Thank you.
Good evening. I've spoken to you numerous times from the podium and individually about the fact that it's often difficult to hear you and hear the speakers who are at the podium. Dr. Merrick has stated that he bought hearing aids, but they only amplified the garble. As a professional with considerable audio engineering experience, and my hearing tests well as well, I have offered to provide help myself, provided referrals for other professionals, and I was assured by you and your staff that we would address this and follow up with me. And I'm happy to report that though there was a missed email due to spam, that your very capable Director of Communications, Anita Baggy, replied to me, and we will work together to diagnose the problem and offer solutions for the near future. I look forward to hearing you more clearly.
Okay. Barbara Anderson. Okay. Helene Johnson.
Good evening. Thank you for your time. While riding down Carolina Beach Road, I noticed all the new apartments, homes being built. This means neighborhood schools, but you wanted to get rid of Mary Washington Howe. This is not a color issue, but a money issue. The rich get richer while the poor stays poor and out of the equation. The Bible states that the poor shall always be with us. When is the board going to consider the people that voted you in to do what is best for all people and children? Education should be the best wherever our children reside, but they should not be denied convenience over money or politics. You continue to show us what is important, which is money, not futures of the working people. Remember, we all have a judgment day. Will yours be, I looked out and supported people of all races and economic statuses, or I agreed with only the rich and the powerful? If you were in my shoes, what or how would you feel about the people who has my child's life in their hands? I speak for teachers, parents, support staff, because without them, you have no job. When making decisions, think of people that voted for you, and are you doing the best for them? Our votes count. I speak for grandmothers who see the lack of field trips, cut lunches, homeless families, exceptional children, which can't talk but still finance the system because of their needs. Please think of others before you say yes, and be brave to say no when it's wrong. Thanks.
I don't see Leslie Posey, and Carlette Grissett is not here, so this concludes our call to audience.
Thank you, Ms. Mason. Thank you to everyone, speakers this evening. appreciate your time and definitely appreciate your passion. Thank you very much. We will carry on. Usually we'll take a break, but we're not going to take a break. But I will give everybody a minute or two to, I think some people will be leaving, so give you a moment to do that. Yes, sir.
I would recommend we take a very short break because it will take a while for the room to quiet down.
All right, why don't we...
Disagree. I disagree.
It's up to you.
Yeah.
It's up to you, Mr.
Yeah,
Chairman.
we can just... We'll carry on. We'll just go ahead and carry on best we can. The next section is very straightforward anyway. We will have our consensus items. I will entertain a motion to accept all the consensus items.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have first and second. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to pull Brooklyn Arts Music Academy for revised MOU.
Okay, so we want to pull E. Dr. Merrick?
Okay.
A.
A.
Okay, so we'll pull A and E. Anything else? All right. I will make a substitute motion to accept all but A and E.
Second.
First and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of passing all but A and E, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? That passes 7-0. We will start in alphabetical order, so we'll start with A. Dr. Merrick.
Well, I'm gonna blame this on the public, on the public's need to know.
Okay.
The fact of the matter is, I don't understand part of what I'm looking at on these reports. And I think that, you know, for those folks who work in this every single day, I'm sure it seems obvious. But there are acronyms in here, and I can't tell whether the positive and the negatives are money we saved or money we lost, right? So I'm asking that it's one thing for these. I just think that we need to have these forms be a little bit more understandable. Each change order doesn't have a real description of what it's for. I mean, yes, it gives a project number, but that doesn't necessarily help me. You're asking me to go back through a lot of research to figure out what that's for. And the last thing, Mr. Chair, is that I'm sure there's a very, very good reason for it, but one of these contracts started out at $68,000 and ended up at $9.4 million. And that was a bit of a huh? I think that's the last one on the list
Doug,
here.
would you address those for us, please? Or Dr. Morgan?
So, I'm sorry, you were looking at the one for the New Hanover structural repairs?
Yes, sir, yes.
Yes, sir. So essentially, and you're right, the description on some of them is not as detailed, and some of them, I think when it goes through the process, it is identified in there. These reports are intended to show the differences in the contract from where it started versus where it ended. That one in particular, I think, is actually provides the most description of the other ones that are in there. So I do think that one is outlined for you, but it's something I think we can probably do a better job of, if that's what you're looking for. A lot of these are they're not something that you're voting on right now, so those changes voted on previously. So if there was a change in the contract that pushed it over the $300,000 benchmark, or it changed it by 25% of the original contract, then it would have had to come back to the board for approval. So in this particular case, these were all things that had been voted on previously. This is just record of those changes that had been previously approved.
I just want to remind everybody that these are public, forms that everyone can look at. And I know that people do go into our paperwork and they're going to be confused by this. And if I was someone in the public who was worried about where our money was being spent and I saw a contract for $68,000 that we ended up paying $9.4 million for, I'd be pretty upset. Now, I think I understand what that is. We're talking about the facade at New Hanover High School. Like, I get all that, but I don't know that the public would. So I'm just asking for more information on these forms when we put them out to the public.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
Ms. Bradford?
And I would just like to comment that we go over these in the agenda review, and Dr. Morgan has many, many times, including our last agenda review, gone over these with this when I asked the questions specifically about the new Hanover one. So the time to ask these questions of him is at agenda review to get all your answers so that you can share them with the people that have concerns. And I just wanted to remind you of that. But we did go over each one of these. I picked apart a couple of them, if Dr. Morgan remembers correctly, including the new Hanover one, to remind me why that $9 million was there.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to respond.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, and I appreciate the comments from my colleague at the end. The most important thing I'm bringing is that these are public documents that are on our agenda and that the public does access these, so we need to help them to understand it. They might not have watched the agenda review. Maybe they might not have had that information, or they didn't remember. So I'm asking for just more information for them. Thank you.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
move we approve A.
Okay. We have a first and a second to approve A. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of approving A, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, like sign. Passes 7-0. And the other one we pulled was E. Ms. Barnhart?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to bring again to the public attention, this is expansion of the program at the Brooklyn Arts Music Academy, expanding. It'll be at Mary Howe Pre-K, Johnson Pre-K, and at Forest Hills Elementary School. And with that, I move to approve this MOU.
Second?
Okay. We have first and second. Any discussion of E?
I want to say how thrilled I am that we get an expansion of a program that's not even going to cost us anything. It's valuable in its own right, but the fact that it comes for free, man, we love it even more. Thank you.
Amen to that. Agreed. Totally agreed. Any other discussion?
Yes, sir. Just on that number 4, I just want to point out how proud I am that this board voted unanimously, if I remember correctly, to save Mary Howe. And so the fact that we're expanding it with this program, we had space there to do that. I'm just really proud of that.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of passing letter E, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Again, passes 7-0. We will carry on to the policy consensus. We have 4 policies in front of us. I, as the chairman of the policy committee, will make a motion we pass the 4 as approved or as stated. Is there a second?
I'll second for discussion.
Okay, we second for discussion.
I'd like to.
All right, let's, why don't we take it one by one? So let's take 2230 first, board committees.
I'd like to pull that.
Yeah, well, we're going to go ahead and pull that one. I think we're going to pull them all.
I
but
think we're going to pull them all, Mr.
Yeah.
Chairman.
I believe we are. I believe Mr. Perry has shared with us an amendment that we have in our hand.
Withdraw the motion to approve them then? Are we going through them?
We're going to just go one by one, so.
Just
Yeah.
withdraw the motion.
Just withdraw the motion.
Withdraw the motion then, that's fine. Okay, so we'll go through 2230. Mr. Perry, why don't you talk us through your proposed amendment?
Yeah, since we are 2230 concerns board committees, I thought this was as good a time as any to discuss a new committee, standing committee for employee retention and reward. The business of taking care of our employees and making sure that they are valued as much as they should be, and coming up with new and innovative programs in order to recruit and develop and retain those employees. That should be something that we be doing on an ongoing basis. They are our lifeblood here in the school system. We shouldn't be waiting. So, as you can see in the policy that I gave you, my only addition is number 5 which is on the second page under point A of board standing committees, which reads, this committee will develop new and creative employee benefit programs that will aid NHCS in recruiting, developing, and retaining the highest quality employees. The committee will be comprised of 3 members of the board, along with up to 8 employees chosen by the committee who are representative of the various job positions within New Hanover County Schools. The committee is assisted by the administrative staff at the direction of the superintendent or designee. we need to take care of our employees, and this is not something that we should put off. This is something we should just be doing continually. So I'd ask for a second on this.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the amendment here, I guess we'll call it the David Perry Amendment.
I would second for the sake of discussion.
Okay, we have a first and second. Further discussion. Ms. Barnhart?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was handed this paper during the call to audience, actually. So it's my understanding, and so I just need just some clarity on that. Is my colleague to the far right currently on the policy committee and chose not to bring this for committee, but chose to bring it to the board instead? Is that, as you being the policy chair and the chair of a board?
It was not brought to it.
It was not brought to policy committee?
No, it was not.
That is my only question and clarity. Thank you for answering.
Bradford?
And I noticed that it was passed out during call to audience. And if I'm not mistaken, we've already debated this, we've voted on this. So I would move to approve policy 2230 as shown on our screens that we've had for the last month since the agenda review, with the changes that the policy committee made, not adding any additional changes.
I second. Well, can we do that?
We already had a motion on the table.
I finish this.
On the table in a second. Ms. Justice?
I'm of the same mind. I didn't realize that she was going to say it, but he's on the policy committee. This is getting old. There was plenty of opportunity. Send it back to policy again then if you want to add it so we can discuss it during the policy committee. That's the proper process in order to get these things changed.
You had a chance. So Dr. Merrick next, and then we'll go to
Yeah,
Mason
Mr.
then.
Chairman, it actually probably comes under almost a point of inquiry. I'm having trouble remembering all the different machinations that we did actually approve this committee, and then we voted to postpone the enforcement or the implementation of the committee. And I'm wondering, this really isn't something to discuss in policy. That committee has been approved. And so maybe it's not approved as of this date. Maybe it doesn't go into implementation for another few months or something. But I think we need to resolve that before we can just say whether or not it belongs in this document.
Sure. Ms. Mason?
So if I might, the original committee name that my colleague to the far right had proposed that we approved was the Performance Ad Hoc. This is a different one.
Ad hoc's not the same.
It's a different, standing and ad hoc, definitely not the same. So just to that point, outside of that, the changes that were made to I believe it was the soil and water. Sustainability.
Oh, this one is.
Sustainability. I'd like to kind of have the policy committee revisit that. In discussion, I am currently the chair of, or part of the sustainability committee, and I know that my colleague to the left is part of the soil and water, and I have participated in that as well, and I feel that there's a lot of overlap, and so I really think that we need to send for at least that portion back to policy to reconsider. I think that we don't want to do double duty. This year is going to be a busy year for a lot of us, for all of us. I mean, we all have our lives and our jobs outside of this, and our families, and so I would recommend, and this is not well, actually, I move to refer this back to committee. That supersedes the original.
We already have a motion.
You already have a motion.
Nope, referring to committee supersedes.
Okay.
The whole thing.
We have first and second, Mr. Perry.
I just want to be very clear that this committee is not the other performance bonus committee that we approved before. This is more of an overarching committee that might include discussion of a performance bonus, but may also include some other things, like working with corporations or with housing vendors in order to get, maybe some special perks on assisted housing vouchers for our teachers' employees so that they can afford to live here. This is a more overarching committee than the original one.
Yes, sir. Ms. Barnhart? Conductor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. From my brief reading of this, I am not in disagreement of this committee. I don't appreciate being handed something saying, this is what we're going to discuss and vote on when I've not been addressed this, there's not been having a conversation about. And so to have something come up on the dais the day of, that I understand that does happen. It's usually protocol that we make each other aware that this is happening, this is why it's coming up on short notice. The other thing, the reason why I agreed to send this back to committee, not only for that, but I agree with my colleague to the right about soil and water and sustainability overlapping. So if and when this gets sent back to committee, 2230, the other policy that needs to be addressed is appointments to outside board committees, because that is where currently soil and water is on. So if there's a discussion about consolidation, that policy also needs to be discussed with that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And while I support the motion to send back to committee, there are some comments I'd like to also send back to committee with it, since I'm not on that committee. I recommend a clause that reads, quote, "The board chair will appoint board members from each political party to committees that as closely as possible reflects the makeup of the party membership of the board," unquote. We've talked about how to do this, and we've come up with some ways that it works and some ways that it doesn't. And I think this might be one way that it would work. I also would put that in as G4, and that regardless if that goes in or not, we have two different sections of 1, 2, and 3, and those should be 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6, or if you allow my G4, they would go 5, 6, 7.
Mr. Chair?
Oh, and one more comment for the policy committee. In A, the finance bond committee, it only has 2 board members, and I think it's probably one of the most important committees we have. It says it in here as 2, and I think it needs to be 3.
Yeah, I think it is 3.
Probably right.
Okay.
It says at a minimum.
Well, I would make that minimum 3 then.
Yeah. Ms. Justice?
Okay, is this a place for all of this? All these different things popping up suddenly, and creating a committee really within 5 minutes that we didn't have before. We need to send this back to policy. This is very confusing and definitely not following policy and procedure.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to carry it back to policy. All in favor of sending policy 22?
Mr. Chair, I wanted to propose an amendment to Ms. Mason's motion.
Go ahead.
You send it to not the one next week, but the following policy committee.
Well,
Would you be interested in that amendment?
why? So you can have a different
Because it's a
policy
week
committee?
it's a week out.
Oh,
You have a point of order, yes, ma'am?
Just, who has the floor?
Ms. Bradford?
Thank you.
I don't think so.
6 of one, half dozen of the other.
This doesn't give much time to prepare. I mean, we got this.
Will of the board.
First conversation 30 minutes ago or 45 minutes ago, and now we've got another suggestion. It's just, it's just really fast.
You making a motion?
I would make the amendment to that if she's agreeable.
I can
What policy?
revise,
Or substitute motion.
restate. I move to refer this policy 2230, board committees, back to policy committee to be addressed within the next month. Is that reasonable? Within the next month?
That would be the next meeting.
No,
Okay.
I mean,
That would be.
I second.
Okay, first and second. Any further discussion on that motion? Okay, we'll take that motion first. So the motion now is, will you revise it? So the motion now is to send 2230 back to policy committee within the next month. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? So I think that's a no, so that's 6-1. So 2230 will go back to policy within the next month. Next, we will have, I'm glad I gave some time for this. This is great. 2235, advanced delivery of meeting materials.
That we adopt.
Then we have the morning of the agenda meeting. We have a motion to adopt. I'll second that. Any further discussion? Dr. Merrick?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, I want to thank the Policy Committee for bearing with my incessant requests and for bringing these changes. I think it's a really big step forward in transparency, which I think every single one of us have run on the concept of transparency. So I think that we've all described, that transparency is so important in local government. In the paragraph with the changes, right, with the red line, with the red ink, for clarity, I would move to add this language where it says the proposed agenda, and here's my change, of the upcoming regular board meeting, because you get confused with the agenda review meeting that we're talking about. I just want for clarity to make sure we're talking about the regular board meeting. Other than that, I thank the Policy Committee and this board for their perseverance.
I will second that. I do like the clarification.
Sounds good.
Okay. Ms. Justice.
Okay, so what you're saying is not to change, and instead just to make sure it's
Include the changes.
include, and then add.
And add.
I'm just trying to clarify. Thank you. I'm trying to clarify here.
Thank you.
Ms. Bradford?
Okay, look at the second line there. This is applying to regular, interim, and agenda review meetings. So if we change that to say the proposed regular board meeting, it will only apply to the regular board meeting. But I think your intent is for it to apply to regular, interim, and agenda review meetings. Is it not true?
At the agenda review meeting, the morning of the agenda review meeting, we need to have the agenda of the regular board meeting posted. That's what this whole change is about, is making sure that people can
Okay,
look
I see
at the
what you're saying.
documents of
I see
the
what you're saying.
regular board meeting on the morning of the agenda review, so
Good.
while we discuss, they can follow along.
Okay.
Okay.
So we have,
Well, that's what we're saying here.
oh, into
The proposed agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My only point of discussion is, does the staff have the understanding capability to make sure that we're posting a draft of this? And so just speak to that clarity.
Mr. Barnes?
So for us, it's not really a large change for us. We have to have the stuff for the board meeting in before we have the agenda review, correct? Y'all? I think the only thing that we will have to have the public understand is that will be listed as a draft. There have been times that we go to agenda review and we change what we're going to do at the board meeting. The problem is once you post an agenda, you are not supposed to change that agenda. So I'll make sure I write draft all over everything.
Yeah.
And I've also asked our staff to, if they change a document between the agenda review and the agenda, they change an attachment or whatever to put version 2, version 3, version 47, whatever it is.
Yes.
I'm going to ask for my staff to have a little bit of grace in this. This is changing what they do. They are already pressed to what I consider the max. So just be gentle. If you have concerns, obviously, public, you guys come to me. But we already have to have the documents in already. So it's just a change to make that document wide open to everybody as opposed to just the board.
Mr. Perry?
Yeah, I just want to state for the record, for the public, that I'm in full agreement with this, and I think we need to be as transparent as possible, and I think this is, and as Dr. Barnes said, it doesn't look like it's going to be any real additional work, at least as far as this portion that's in policy goes, so I think this is a step in the right direction, so I'm all for it.
With that, I'll take a moment to call for a vote. All in favor of the amended, with Dr. Merrick's amendment for policy 2335, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Passes 7-0. Next, we will have policy 2127, board member.
Point of order, Mr.
Yes,
Chair?
sir. Yes, sir.
We voted on the amendment, but did we vote on approval of the policy? Do we have to do that as well?
Well, we
Yes,
did
I
the
believe
amended,
so.
but, you know what? Let's go through it twice. That's fine. All in favor of the amended policy, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. 7-0. Okay, we carried on. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Carrying on with policy 2127. This one might take a little longer. The changes are listed in section 3. Letter B, as they are right now, board members should not utilize school system or individual school names, logos, or trademarks on personal social media in such a manner that could be construed as a political endorsement. Ms. Mason, let's start with you, because you're closest to me.
Thanks. So I think my biggest concern with this is that there are individuals on this board that have children in the school system. And my personal social media is privated for a reason. I don't allow a lot of people to view everything that I post on my personal social media. And I think we need to define that because when we went in November to the NCSBA conference, we did learn about the differentiation between the personal and a school board type, more professional social media. And one of the defining things, if I remember correctly, and the other board members that were there can correct me if I'm wrong, a personal one is not at the same level and doesn't have the same expectations as or access as the school, like if there's a campaign page, if there is a school board page. And so I struggle with this because I know that we live in a very divisive time. And I think that it is easy for people to point fingers at somebody that they disagree with, at somebody that they dislike. And I would be concerned that on my social media page, someone might find access and say that anything that I've posted about my children's school with their logos, with New Hanover County Schools, is for political gain. I don't post a lot on my social media, but what I do post is things that I'm proud of for our schools, things that I'm proud of for my children, things that I'm, that I am supportive of. So I would be concerned with putting this into policy for a personal social media platform.
Thank you, Ms. Mason. Mr. Perry?
This came down in its original form from the NCSBA. The form before you today was something that we discussed at our last policy committee, and that because I thought that the original restriction did far too much of a restriction on our individual rights of free expression as board members. The important thing to know about, as far as I'm concerned, is to make sure that, but it's already stated in number A, that we're clear, that we're not speaking for the school system, that even on our candidate pages, we are speaking for ourselves, and it's not hard to do that. I put my little disclaimer on all my posts. So that's already an A. So personally, I don't think we need B at all. I think we could just not make any changes to this policy, and I would be fine with it. And just leave it the way it is. So I would like to make a motion to that effect, that we just not make any changes to policy 2127.
Second.
First and second. Let me jump in here.
Sure.
My biggest concern is looking at the section in blue, which I agreed with the policy. I'll be honest, but if I wear a Laney shirt, because I used to work at Laney a little bit, coach there, and I go to Laney High School and get a picture, and I'm not running for anything anyway, but if I was, if I go in front of Laney High School and get a picture of myself in a Laney thing, somebody could say, well, that might be construed. I mean, I guess who's in whose eyes that it could be construed as a political endorsement. I'll be honest, when I did run, I did get pictures in front of schools doing my job, which was going to schools. I guess I could have not taken a picture, but I'd take a picture at running into, whatever, Castle Hayne Elementary School. Here I am, boom. So, I mean, I guess I do have some concern that, my biggest thing is I think we need to have a level playing field. And if a candidate goes in front of Laney High School with a lady shirt on, that's okay, but if a board member does the same thing, it could be construed as a political endorsement, so.
Mr. Chair.
That'd be my, that concern. I'm going to go to Ms. Justice, then you, okay? Oh, well, actually, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it to you twice. Dr. Merrick was first. Yes, I was, I apologize. Dr. Merrick, go ahead. Yeah,
I was going to give you all
before.
kind of grace on that. I just want you to know.
Thank you.
Okay. I actually agree with my colleague on the far left here who has said that, how do you determine if it is for political intent? That's a very gray area. We have a hard enough time following our policies as it is sometimes, and when they're vague, it's pointless to have one because it cannot be enforced. Having said that, I do believe that the intent is correct. If you go, if one of us is running for office and we're there in front of a school and we're posing and it makes it look like the school endorses us, that's an improper usage. But I don't think that's typically what would happen. We were discussing the other day, we took pictures of that wonderful bike giveaway and there just happened to be a New Hanover High School logo in the background. And what we wanted to say was, this is an amazing program, but we couldn't put it online because it had a logo. So it does need work, and for that reason, I would move to refer back to policy, and let's try again.
We already have a motion on the
We have a motion on the
This is a referral.
Refer supersedes.
Okay, there's a motion to refer back to policy. Is there a second?
Do we have a second?
Is there a second?
No.
Hearing
It
none?
dies.
Okay, goes back to our original motion. Ms. Mason, then Ms. Justice. No, Ms. Mason, I'm sorry, Ms. Bradford. Boy, I'm back to what I used to do. I'm sorry. Ms. Bradford and then Ms. Justice.
So Ms. Justice first, or me?
You.
Okay. And I would just remind everybody, I think most of us were out in front of J.C. Rowe when we redid the sign, and we took the picture in front of the sign with the logo and all the staff and at least one student. If this were to pass, somebody could point their finger and say, hey, I'm construing this as a political endorsement. And it just, as Ms. Mason said very brilliantly, I want to stop the finger pointing. So I'm totally in favor of Mr. Perry's motion.
Okay, and over to Ms. Justice.
I think we're almost sounding like we're in agreement. There's a big difference between a political Facebook page and a personal Facebook page. And that's basically saying, your personal life, we don't restrict people from going out in public that work in certain jobs and, they can't be proud of it and share that or, so that makes total sense. We're talking, and the School Board Association, did they have this in here?
No.
They had some, the red part.
A version of it.
Yeah.
It was suggested.
That's, okay. I'm just trying to, and I was on policy committee, I should remember these
Yes.
things. Sorry about that. But yeah, I think we're all in agreement. I mean, a personal page is a lot different than other kinds of pages.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Ms. Barnhart.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My only follow-up prior to us voting is the School Board Association sometimes has legal requirements for policy changes, and sometimes there's suggestions for us to debate over. So I would just like to ask legal counsel, is this language required by law to add, or is it pure opinion whether or not we do it?
Actually, if I could, because I've already talked to them.
The attachment's on your computer.
I've actually talked to them about that exact question, and it is not legal. It's
Not legally required.
No.
Thank you for that clarification.
We point of order.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
have on our screens, if you click on the one that says the fall update, you'll see that section where it says, required. If you click on NCSBA fall update, some wonderful staff person put that on there for us, so that it tells you right there that it's not required.
Yes, and just to point out, Ms. Kadetsky, if you're listening.
Yes, it was
that
Pat.
Miss-
Thank you,
She
Pat.
did a great job. She did that. So we do have a motion to eliminate Section B. We have a second on that. All in favor of eliminating Section B, 3B, to be specific, please signify.
Order?
Yes, sir.
I
We were so
think my
close.
motion was just to.
No action.
To leave 2127 alone.
Right, which would eliminate Section B.
We would just leave it
Go
the
back
way
to
it is.
original, yes. So, revert to the original. Well, I'll say it the way you want me to say it. Revert to the original policy 2127. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Point of inquiries?
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Chairman?
We were so close.
You said that in the previous version from the SBA, there was some version of paragraph B.
There is.
So are you saying that we're going to revert back to the original of the SBA?
No.
No. So you're gonna
Keep
take
it.
away this clause altogether
Yes, sir.
and remove whatever clause SBA had included?
Which is this, which is section B. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Okay. Rule limit, back to my interpretation of Mr. Perry saying, eliminate section B, everything in red and blue, under 3.
There was nothing else, was there?
Nope, that was it.
There was at the very bottom a little tiny legal reference,
Yes, there is. I'm sorry, yes, there is.
comma or a space right there.
187, US
We're
187.
fine.
Okay. So eliminate everything in section 3.
Oh, yeah.
Or go back to the original version of section 3. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, that passes 7-0.
No, sir, I still had a question before we voted. I'm still confused.
Okay.
I'm hearing that there was some clause B from SBA.
The red.
That
The red.
The red was from NCSBA.
And so are we, in
Blue
this
was
vote,
us.
are we keeping the red and getting rid of the blue?
All of it.
Whole thing.
You're getting rid of all of it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then I'm a nay, so it's 6-1.
Okay, so we'll change that to 6-1 as a vote? Okay. And finally,
Can I speak to that real
oh
quick?
my goodness.
Sorry, sir. I would be remiss if I didn't remind all the board members that we do have photo releases. If you do have a photo with a student in it, you need to check with the principal or with the communication director to make sure that they are eligible to have their picture shown, please.
Okay. And we are past time, but we do have retirement, 7910. I will make, go ahead.
I move that we adopt
Second.
Second? Okay, first and second. Any discussion? If hearing none, all in favor of adopting 7910 as written, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Very good. Caught back up. All right, we're going to carry on. Thank you guys for bearing with me on that one. There was a lot of moving pieces. I do appreciate y'all. We have no old business. We have no, well, we've moved new business. We do have a need for a closed session. So I will read this section here. I'll call for a closed session pursuant to I'll call for a motion to go into closed session, excuse me.
I will motion that.
You have to read it first, yes.
Yeah, pursuant to General Statute 143, 318, 11C, for the following purposes: to prevent the disclosure of information privileged or confidential pursuant to General Statute 115C, 402, and not considered public record within the meaning of 132 of General Statutes, prevent disclosure of student records rendered confidential under family educational rights, to consult with our attorneys in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the attorney and the board, and to consider qualifications, competence, performance, character, fitness, conditions of appointment, when conditions of initial employment of an individual employed or considered for employment with the school system, or to hear and investigate a complaint, charge, grievance by or against any individual employee. Okay.
Second.
All in favor of going to closed session, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Please make sure you bring your calendars, folks. We need your calendars.
I don't have one.
Or your phone, or whatever you use.
I left my brain at home. You know what, I think I'll survive. I can handle, I'm sneaking through.
Yeah, put it on my computer.
Put away your computer. All right. Oh, yeah, we're going to carry on. Oh, yeah, we got that.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, we're back in open session.
I move to approve the personnel report.
Second?
We have a first and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of approving the personnel report, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. Carries 7-0. Computer back up here.
I'd like to recommend that we hold our budget.
Your mic is,
I'd like to recommend that we hold our board budget work session on Wednesday, the 25th.
Okay, is there a second?
February 20th.
February 25th.
I thought we talked about the 23rd.
I can't make it on the 23rd.
Can't be on the 23rd, okay. 25th, so would you be at right after our agenda review?
No, the 24th is our agenda review.
Well, it's right after, I mean, the next day.
Next day, yes.
The next day. I should be more specific. The next day. Okay, yes, ma'am?
Does that give?
Yeah, that is going to
That's
put,
cutting it tight for Ashley to go from Wednesday to Thursday. She won't even be able to, yeah.
I'll just, I think as long as we can we do it maybe earlier in the day on
Do
Wednesday?
10 o'clock? Can we do it, can you do it 10 o'clock?
I can do it starting at 12.
12 o'clock.
12's good.
12 o'clock.
On the 25th?
All right, so we have a motion. Can you amend yours to
I'll
10,
make it-
12 o'clock?
I will amend the motion to say that we have our board budget work session on Wednesday, the 25th of February at noon.
Noon, okay. We have, let's see, that's budget. Okay, we have a first and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Carries 7-0.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, ma'am?
I move that we move the March 3rd board meeting to March 10th, 1 week out,
Because of Election Day.
because of Election Day. Yes, sir.
Okay. The first and second, any discussion?
Can I hear a repeat of the motion?
Motion to move it from the 3rd to the 10th.
Move what?
The regular meeting.
Oh, this one here. Yes.
Our meeting.
Yes, I didn't see that written there.
At the same time, at 5 o'clock. Okay? All right, all in favor, any discussion? No. All in favor of moving the March meeting from the 3rd to the 10th, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? That carries 7-0.
At 5 o'clock?
5 o'clock.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair?
BOE
And what are we
meeting.
giving 2 hours, 3 hours? What are you giving to
Mr.
that?
Chair. Mr. Chair.
15 minutes. I'm going to go there and there. You're up. Miss
One more-
Miss
one-
Bradford.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
One more, the one at the top. I move that we approve the board town hall for Wednesday, January 28th, 5 to 7.
Okay, I'll second that. Any discussion? All right, all in favor of having a town hall with a budget focus with the superintendent involved on Wednesday, the 28th, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed?
I think what you're voting on is that my budget listening tour with
We just took it
staff.
over.
Okay.
We just took it over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
have
over.
at it. Good luck with that.
Oh, yeah, you'll be there.
How long?
Mr. Perry?
How long? 2 hours.
Considering that we postponed our March board meeting from the 3rd to the 10th, and I guess that we should probably make a motion to make policy the 17th.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Has that schedule already been established?
It has, but we can change it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a motion, I'll second, moving policy in March to the 17th.
Okay.
That's, what do you say? Can't do that. No, kidding. Kidding. Oh, yeah, you gotta wear green. All right, all in favor of moving policy to the 17th of March, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
On the one for his listening tour? Because he said he needed our approval.
Yes.
Yeah, we
vote on
approved
that?
it, we approved it.
Okay.
Okay, let's see, correspondence, anybody have any correspondence? No correspondence.
I got Christmas cards.
Yeah, me too. Let's see, the policy committee meeting will be on Tuesday, the 13th, 1 PM, Board of Education Center. The general public will have the option to view remotely. Board of Education will hold an agenda review on the 27th at 2 PM. The general public will have the option to view remotely. And the Board of Education will hold its regular meeting on February 3rd. Make sure you bring your gifts for my birthday, which is the next day.
What's your birthday?
February 4th.
Well, mine's the 18th.
Well, there you go. We'll have a joint party.
There you go. Bring joints?
No, we're not. Yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about, yeah. All right, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
First and second, any discussion of adjournment? All in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. That passes 6-1. We are adjourned.
And it's 8:26.
8:26.
I got a new sticker.
All right.